Who's those people? Who are these people here?
Well, these people are some of the judges in the Oakland County Probate Court. Some of them are the ones that are not following the laws, Michigan laws, which families are entitled to be privy to. And we're questioning a lot of things at the court as to why they do not follow the rights of the family members to incorporate the cycle of life of being able to care by choice for your elder family members. So what happened in my case was a family situation where brother had all the authority for my mother, the legal power, because he was an attorney, and that was already set so that there would be no issues. And a few years ago, we saw a change, and it addressed the fact that my mother was basically being abused to the extent where the family wasn't allowed to go visit her, and we saw areas of concern that she had been neglected. So I voluntarily stepped in, and I came to this court, Oakland County, which is the one that is in the county of my mother, and I followed procedures by attending a class actually that they offered, which told you mostly how to fill out the forms and get in the court, and to start the process going because you chose to be a guardian of your family member. What actually happened is when they taught me to fill out the form and get my court date and hire a lawyer, which all cost a lot of money, when I stepped into the court, that's not what happens. Once you get into court with your lawyer and your evidence showing abuse or a reason why you want to take guardianship and your document, it was a bait and switch. And the bait and switch mainly was, rather than you get guardianship, the judge violated my rights, my Michigan state law, MCL 700-5306, which clearly states that a family member has priority, and this must be in place long before a court may appoint a court-appointed guardian. She basically skipped all of that, skipped the priorities, did not follow the law that I am entitled to by right, had no consideration of my mother and the fact that she needed help, did not look at my evidence at all, and I had a stack of it, dated and pictures and everything. She didn't even look at it. I was allowed to say one word in that courtroom, which was yes. And it was a response I was told by my lawyer to say in response to the question of, do we all agree that Gloria needs a guardian? And I was told by my lawyer to say yes if I wanted to see her, because at this point my brother was keeping her isolated. Therefore, after that, the judge said, well, this gentleman will be your guardian. And I thought, wait, what just happened? And out in the hallway, the lawyers were talking, and I found out that this man was a public administrator who she appointed instead of myself, with all the evidence, never looked at a stitch of evidence, and chose him, a stranger to our family, to look over all my mother's finances and well-being and medical care with all the HIPAA laws in place. All of a sudden, the stranger is going to take over my mother's medical care and everything else. So then, after that happened, I found out that not only did she not look at evidence, violated my Michigan law, but now I'm under some stranger's, my mother's under some stranger's guardian rather than the family member, and I am under guarded visitation by some stranger to see my own mother. And the guarded visitation was for 2 times a month now for 2 hours each time. I had to go with a supervisor who escorted me from the door to the room and back again. It was absolutely unbelievable. And let alone the abuse that my mother now has, being in isolation and not being allowed to see her own family. And the same happened with my son as well. So she is now isolated from her daughter, her grandchildren. All the relatives that wanted to see her through me could not go and see her. The only person now that was allowed to see her was the very person I brought to court on abuse charges, on falsifying police records, isolating her, abusing her. That was thrown out, and he is free to come and go whenever he wants and do whatever he wants, and I am treated like a prisoner. This is the absolute crime to elders that is happening. They are isolated from their family, and the family members, the good people who go in to help the situation, are treated like the criminals, and the person who's not behaving properly is an abuser, is treated like on a pedestal. And not only was I placed on supervised visitation for almost a year, missing all holidays for my mother's 93rd, 92nd birthday, everything was missed. But then I was told at a mediation that if you want to see your mother more often, you have to pay for it. I have to pay to see my own mother. Who is getting all this money and taking it from our family? Plus the public administrator billing and billing and billing at almost $275 an hour, rather than the family member who would never even think to charge to take care of my own mother. It's just a natural process. So there's money being consumed and stolen out of the families that come to this court and seek justice and seek relief for their elders. It's almost like you would think there's a human trafficking going on here, because the people go in, they take and snatch the elders out of the courtroom, assign them a public administrator who is then bilking and squandering that victim's estate. And this is the legacy that was supposed to help her in her final years, or a legacy to be left for family, grandchildren, in the intentions of their will and testament. And this is all being washed away. The civility of it all is being washed away, the decency, the morality, the human element. It is a complete corruption and needs to stop, because I'm a baby boomer, and I fear that myself and my friends and peers are going to be the next commodity to be used by this court.
So in May in 2016, you and your brother had some confusion about how mom was going to be taken care of.
Mm-hmm.
And where was mom living at this time?
She was at home in her condo, and I felt she was very comfortable there. She was independently living, very conscious, and paying her own bills, and very comfortable. She loved her condo.
So what happened to her condo?
Well, I guess she fell, and my brother decided that he could no longer care for her, which would have been against my wishes and my mother's, and he put her into a nursing home facility. And then we didn't know which nursing facility she was at because of his lack of communication to the family. So I felt again there was a need for somebody to step in and intervene.
Does she have any mental challenges right now?
She has dementia, but with my knowledge of dementia, I know, and I've attended many workshops, read many books on the subject, and from all the new studies that have come out, dementia can actually be slowed down with a lot of exercise, proper exercise, the right nutrition, having family close to them, and having a normal life, and everything that I have seen and witnessed has been against the current research. No exercise, isolation, unfamiliar surroundings, and no stimulation at all. They're on a strict routine at the nursing home. Basically, they won't change her because it's too inconvenient. They change her when she's before she goes to bed, and she's already been hospitalized twice under this guardianship. And I even found her when I first started visiting her with bruises and lacerations all over her face. And this was under the guardianship, the current guardianship from this court that assigned him. In fact, I checked from the courthouse the yearly guardian report, which is required by Michigan State, and just to see what he was actually doing. And he failed to put the hospitalization down. He failed to put the dates that he visited my mother that he was supposed to by law. He failed to put a reason that she needed a further guardianship of himself. There were many flaws in the yearly report that it would be questionable to any moral standard and intelligent person. It was basically flawed.
What year was your mom born?
Let's see, well, about 1924 maybe. She's just turned 94. I was born in 1951, which makes me 67, a typical baby boomer. And my brother was 5 years younger. He was born in 1955.
And the two professions of you and your brother?
My brother is actually an Oakland County attorney, and I am a retired school teacher from Detroit with 40 years experience, and I'm actually working right now substituting and volunteering for many organizations, the Senior Olympics, so I'm very aware of the importance of exercise with the elderly